The snack wrap is back, baby.
You heard me right, the snack wrap has returned. One of my favorite childhood meals is back, and you know we're gonna be making it for ourselves. We're gonna be frying up our own chicken, making tortillas from scratch, and I'm gonna be trying my best to recreate their honey mustard. Fasten your seatbelts and follow along for the adventure because this is the best snack wrap I've ever had in my life. First things first, let's grab our chicken breast. You'll need 2 chicken breasts, and all you need to do is just split it down the middle. If any of the pieces are a little too big, then cut them down into more chicken tender size strips. Once you've sliced up your chicken, you're gonna lightly salt them on both sides and then leave them alone to dry brine. Also, if it looks like I have more chicken than you, it's because I do. Your boy's gotta eat throughout the week, so I'm only using half of this chicken for this recipe. From there, we're gonna remove some Italian parsley from its stems and give it a thorough chopping with our knife. You'll only need about 1.5 tablespoons, but I'm gonna chop this whole thing and use it whenever I'm cooking throughout the week. After the parsley, grab 1 to 2 whole dill pickles and give it thin slices along the whole pickle, but not too thin that you completely lose that crunchy texture. You'll want something similar to this. Next, we're gonna chop our iceberg lettuce. Split that sucker in half from the root, checking the insides for any bugs or critters before splitting it in half again into a quarter. Now I'm gonna use my mandolin slicer to slice it into nice and thin strips, but if you don't have this, you can use a knife. Just try your best to keep them as thin and consistent as possible. Lastly, we're gonna mince 4 cloves of garlic. You're going to chop off the root and then slice along the whole clove. From there, chop and continue mincing 5 to 6 times, and then sprinkle a little bit of salt and then crush the garlic with the side of your knife. You're going to continue this crushing and chopping motion until your garlic has a consistency similar to this. Now that we're done with the chopping, let's make our honey mustard, which my first attempt at making was incredibly bad. And I'll be honest, this wasn't my best work when coming together with the sauce. I actually would suggest buying store-bought honey mustard, but if you want to make this sauce in a container, put 150 grams of mayo, 50 grams of Dijon mustard, 20 grams of honey, a very tiny splash of apple cider vinegar, followed by a few pinches of salt and a few cranks of black pepper. Give it a mix, and now you have honey mustard. The sauce is very pungent, and if you try it by itself, you might not like it, but if you incorporate it into the snack wrap, it does round out its flavors and it tastes phenomenal paired with it. Moving on from our sauce, we're going to make some garlic honey butter that'll be melted on our tortillas. Place half a stick of softened butter into a container, and it has to be actually softened. Pour in 1 tablespoon or 18 grams of honey into that container, followed by our 4 cloves of minced and smashed garlic and about 1.5 tablespoons of our chopped Italian parsley. Give that a mixing until everything is evenly spread out into the butter, and you're done. Now we're gonna make our tortillas from scratch, and if you've never done it before, I highly recommend giving it a shot because it's very easy. This is not my recipe, by the way, it's actually Joshua Weissman's, but in a large bowl, you're gonna put in 2.5 cups or 346 grams of all-purpose flour, followed by 1 teaspoon or 6 grams of fine sea salt and 1.5 teaspoons or 6 grams of baking powder. Give it a mixing with a whisk and pour in 3 tablespoons or 33 grams of olive oil, followed by 3/4 of a cup plus a tablespoon or 189 grams of warm water. Give it a mixing with a spoon and then use your hands to mix and knead the dough until you're able to throw it onto your cutting board, from which you're going to continue rolling it out until it becomes a smooth dough. This rolling and kneading process took me about 5 minutes to complete. From there, you're going to divide your dough into small 65-gram balls, and with the rolling pin, you're going to roll out each ball into a thin tortilla. Using the rolling pin will take a few attempts to get used to, but as you're rolling out your tortillas, you can fry them up in a pan at the same time. To do that, get a pan to a ripping hot heat and then just throw down your tortilla onto the pan. Wait 30 to 45 seconds and then give it a flip and cook on the other side for another 30 to 45 seconds. If you're getting these nice little air pockets, you're doing your job right. Once you're done cooking up your tortillas, place them in a towel so they stay warm, and let's get to battering and frying our chicken. In a small bowl, crack 2 whole eggs and sprinkle in a little bit of salt before beating with a fork. Set that bowl aside, and in a separate bowl, you're gonna put 3 scoops of all-purpose flour and 1 scoop of cornstarch. Sprinkle in a few pinches of salt, followed by 1 tablespoon of onion powder and 1 tablespoon of garlic powder as well. Give it a generous mixing with a whisk, and now you're ready to bread your chicken. You're going to grab your chicken, and as you can see, the salt has fully absorbed into the meat. We're going to follow the 1 wet hand and 1 dry hand method. Dip your chicken into the egg mixture with your wet hand, making sure to cover it fully in egg wash. Drip off any excess egg and then drop it into your flour mixture using your dry hand to sprinkle flour on top and press that flour into your chicken. Place your chicken on a plate or wire rack and then continue breading the rest of your chicken. Once your chicken has been breaded once, we're gonna bread them once more, which will ensure there's plenty of flour to give us a nice, deep, crunchy fried chicken. Once you've battered your chicken a second time, grab a pot and pour in vegetable oil or frying oil of your choosing. I'm filling my pot up a little less than halfway. That should give me plenty of room to fry up 2 pieces of chicken at a time, and please note, you should never fill your pot more than 3/4 of the way up with oil. Turn your burner on, and once your oil gets just past 350 degrees Fahrenheit, it's time to fry your chicken. I'm going to gently drop my chicken into the oil, making sure to drop it away from me. Dropping it slowly and calmly will ensure you'll never have to worry about oil splatter jumping onto you from the pot. After 10 to 15 seconds, I'll drop my second piece of chicken in, and I'm going to fry for a total of 5 to 6 minutes. I'm also going to check the temperature of the oil sporadically to make sure it's maintaining that 350 degrees Fahrenheit temp. 5 to 6 minutes later, I'm going to pull my chicken out and test the internal temperature, and as you can see, I'm right at that perfect 160 degrees, which means the chicken is 100% cooked and it'll be nice and juicy when we bite into it. If you don't have a thermometer, I would highly recommend getting one, but you can also fry for an additional 2 more minutes just to be safe. Once I finish frying each batch of chicken, I'm going to place them on a wire rack and sprinkle a little bit of salt on them. 3 batches of frying later, and all my chicken has been fried up, and it's time to assemble our snack wrap. I'm going to throw our garlic honey butter into the microwave to melt for 15 seconds. I'm then going to lay down one of our tortillas onto our cutting board and spread some of our melted garlic honey butter over it. From there, I'll put a small handful of our iceberg lettuce, followed by a few slices of our pickles and a semi-generous pour of our honey mustard. Then I will lay a beautiful piece of our chicken, followed by another semi-generous pour of our honey mustard, a few more strands of iceberg lettuce and pickles. Close that bad boy up, and you have an amazing snack wrap. This is 100% going to be way more filling than anything they will ever serve to you at McDonald's. Now let's see what I gotta say about it after my first few bites. Hopefully I don't say anything too stupid.
This does not taste like a snack wrap. It tastes like a bougie snack wrap. That is actually very impressive. It's super well seasoned. The chicken's crispy. I can taste the salt in it. The pickles are a nice crunch. The lettuce is also a decent crunch. And this honey mustard is not nearly as bad as I thought it was gonna be. It's actually good. It's really good. It goes with the sandwich very well. There's no way on the planet Earth McDonald's snack wrap's gonna taste anything close to this. We crushed that. We destroyed it.
And there you have it. I was genuinely blown away at how good this snack wrap was. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and have a wonderful rest of your day.